Hey guys, MJ here from Nightwalker Gear. Today we are going to look at the new MH12 Pro and MH25 Pro. Right, hands down the best all-rounder flashlight out there today for 90% of users out there. Right? It wipes the floor with all the older versions of the MH12, MH25 series, and I'll show you exactly why. Before we begin, if you want to win this latest MH12 Pro and MH25 Pro, make sure to subscribe to this channel, comment below on if you use these new lights in your work and why. Alright, once we hit 500 likes, I'll announce the two winners in the description box below. Now let's start with who this is designed for. Alright, historically the MH12 and MH25 series from Nitecore have always been designed for users that don't need one-handed control. Now that means being able to change brightness on or off with just one hand in hammer fist grip because the other hand is occupied. Now these are usually life and death situations where they cannot break grip just to change the brightness modes and all that on off. Everything has to be one-handed this way. So for this group of users, lights with all the controls at the back are best, like the EDC 27 here, the P series P20 and the new SRT7i. Right, all of these have dual switches at the back, dual switch, dual stage. Everything can be controlled by just one hand from the back here. For everyone else that doesn't need controls to be on the back, many of them prefer using their lights in forward grip. So this is hammer fist, this is forward grip, right? Or pencil grip. That's why the mode button is always placed up here. It's exactly where your thumb would rest on the light in both grips. So why are these two models better than everything else before it? The older MH12 SE also had side buttons here, and the MH25S also had side buttons here. Now both Pro lights have the same brightness, controls, everything. The only difference is the bezel size, which affects beam distance, which I'll touch on later. Now first up is the beam type. These are using Nitecore's in-house UHi LEDs. Previously, they had to rely on big name makers like Cree, Osram, Nitecore. Right, it's kind of like when Apple computers dropped Intel and started making their own M1 chips. Everything became more efficient because they could sync everything perfectly. Because they could make their own LEDs now, they no longer had to compromise. So one of the most obvious improvements is how they made the LEDs round. Other brand LEDs are square. Right, so if you put a square LED in a round reflector, the corners are all wasted output. Because they are so efficient, they could push the brightness all the way up to 3,300 lumens. Previous MH12 SE capped out at just 1,800 lumens. So the MH12 Pro has double the brightness of the older version. But that's not the most impressive part. The magic is in the runtime. At 1200 lumens, the MH12 Pro runs at an incredible 4 hours 30 minutes. Okay, the MH12 SE caps out at 3 hours 15 minutes. The other Pro lights like the P series, even the latest P20IX caps out at just 2 hours plus. So that makes the MH12 Pro the longest running light at 1200 lumens that has ever come out of Nitecore. Which, when you think about it, is incredible because 1200 lumens is enough for most users across majority of situations. Pro tip, this is also how I judge true performance of any light. Look at the specs at 1000 lumens, so you can benchmark it with lights at the same brightness. There are some models that claim 12,000 lumens, like the Monster TM12K here. So, but in real life, the turbo only lasts 9 seconds before dropping down to, you guessed it, 1000 lumens. Here it is at 1000 lumens. At 1000 lumens, the beam distance for the TM12K is only 71 meters with a very poor 2-hour runtime. So it doesn't even come close to the MH12 Pro at 1200 lumens, 323 meter beam distance and a crazy 4-hour runtime. So here's how the beam looks like in real life at the full 3300 lumens. You can check out the Beamshot videos here. MH12 Pro. Alright, look at that. Very nice cone, the new UHi LED. 3300 lumens downrange. Look at that. Very nice beam. Lightsaber mode as well. Brightness adjustments are here. Low, medium, high. There. Very nice. Amazing beam. The only difference between the MH12 Pro and the MH25 Pro is the bezel size. 25mm versus 40mm. Brightness is the same, but a larger and deeper reflector gives it a further 200-meter reach. Now you might be wondering, how about the new SRT7i? Also 3000 lumens, also 40mm like the MH25 Pro, but the beam distance is just 580 meters. The MH25 Pro hits up to 705 meters. That's the power of the new UHi LED, and noticeably lighter too, the MH25 Pro. The SRT7i, now the emitter is a white beam, you can see the difference there. Compared to the new MH25 Pro, you can see it's a slightly warm or green tint, but very slightly. So if you're using it in an outdoor environment, you can hardly tell. But it's only very obvious when you shine it on a white. Back to the beam, there are thousands of photos online that show the light burning a hole through someone's pants because it turned on by accident in their pocket. So that's where the new proximity sensor comes into play. If it's on turbo and it detects an obstacle in front of it, it dims down to 300 lumens to avoid burning. It removes the obstacle and it goes back to whatever mode it was in, which in this case was turbo. This is a big step up from the EDC27 where the same proximity sensor first appeared, but on the EDC27, it doesn't go back to turbo after dimming, right? It dims, if I take my hand away, it doesn't go back to turbo. I have to turn off the light on and go back to turbo again, right? Which is a bit troublesome. You can see this mode change very clearly on the new indicator lights up front. Blue row on the left shows the brightness level, green row on the right shows battery level. Now there's no more question on what mode your light is in or how much power remains. The older MH12 SE had the battery indicator built into the side of the button that will flash in sequence. So I have to press it and wait for it to go 4 long blinks and then 2 blinks, which means 4.2 volts, which means the battery is full. But who has time to decrypt that? Right? Just tell me if the battery needs charging or not. It's that simple now with the green LED rows here on the new MH12 Pro. When it comes to brightness levels, they've optimized it very nicely. Press to cycle through low, medium, high, turbo. Right? Same as on the MH25 Pro, you got your 50 lumen low, 300 lumen medium, 1200 lumens, and then all the way up to turbo at 3300 lumens. Alright, there's also an ultra low mode that you can get to by holding the mode button and turning on the tail cap, right? So this is a very cool 1 lumen beam here. Great for all the times when you don't want a sudden burst of light like this, but just want a little bit of light to get your bearings or just to leave it on overnight so you know where your light is at all times. If you're worried about these lights not being tactical enough, it does come with 2 operating modes. Out of the box is on daily mode. So it remembers what mode you left it in. So turn it to low, right, turn it off, turn on, it stays in low. Right, to get to tactical mode while it's off, hold the mode button and click the light on. Right, continue holding the mode button until it flashes twice. Right, for tactical mode. Now in this mode, it always turns on in 3300 lumens. Right, even if you cycle it down to, let's say, low, right, turn it off and on again, it's always in turbo. This is perfect for users who cannot afford to have their light turn on in any mode other than turbo. An easy example would be self-defense. If you want to blind a bad guy that's rushing towards you, but you turn on and then, oh no, it's in low. You can't ask him to, hang on, let me adjust it to turbo. Okay, let's go again. Right, it doesn't work, it's too late. So remember, under stress, most people will revert to gross motor muscle memory, mashing the switch while striking. Right, so that's where the tactical mode comes into play. It's always turbo when you need it most. Right, so this leads me to the next point related to striking, which is the grip. Now this new deep bezel design is grippy even when wet with gloves on any condition. Now look at the marks on my hand after gripping it tightly. Compared to the older MH12 SE body design, this might easily slip out when it's wet because it's not as grippy. Grippiness actually translates to confidence in tough conditions because you're not afraid of your light slipping out. Right, little things like this matter compared to something like this LR12 here, completely smooth. So when using this, I felt more concerned with dropping and damaging the light than actually using it because the body was so smooth. It was very easy for this to just drop out or slip out of my hand when handling it. Next is the tail cap. This tail cap is loud, it's tactile, and it's very responsive. It's not a squishy switch like some of the other brands. This helps with momentary signaling, right? 3 long, 3 short, no problem. Especially if you don't have fine motor controls and you don't want to fiddle with the many buttons like this EDC27, half press, full press, whole half, I don't know. Right, the simplicity of this is great. Just one button, on, off, that's it. The charging experience is upgraded as well. Battery cover is hard plastic on the outside and rubber on the inside, so it doesn't get destroyed through rough use or flake off over time. You can see the extruded USB slot here in the cover, so you know that it's a complete seal. Was waterproof down to 2 meters. Both lights do come with the latest 21700 battery, right, 5300 milliampere capacity. So this is the highest capacity that Nitecore makes. It takes around 3 hours, 30 minutes to fully charge the battery, which is incredibly fast. So lesser downtime and more uptime for your gear. Multiple ways to carry, right? Detachable two-way pocket clip that you can mount up facing or down facing. You can also clip it from the top or the bottom in. New Gen 2 holsters are in as well, a much needed upgrade from the old floppy nylon holsters. These are lower profile, right, and take up less space on your belt. It compresses slightly when not in use compared to the older ones that flop around. So here's how it fits in for the MH12 Pro and MH25 Pro. Now you can fit the MH25 Pro bezel down or bezel up. It's up to you. Both ways work well. Okay, look at how slim they look now, right, compared to the previous ones. D-Link loop here. On the back you got your mole loop here and belt loop here. Does the MH12 Pro fit on the older quick draw holsters from the P10 series like this one here? Yes, it does fit, right? It's a universal fit and it's quite snug as well. For the MH25 Pro, unfortunately there's no quick draw holster for this except for the NCP40 holster here, which slots in bezel facing down this way. You can mount it sideways, upside down as well, or up depending on you, because it's all mole on the back. Pro tip: you can use the lanyard to loop around your wrist or around the light this way as well to aid in retention. So I've done it with the SRT7 here. Right, you can do it with any light you want, right, this way. Now when it comes to attachments, the MH25 Pro fits all previous 40mm filters, so this converts into a massive traffic cone. Right, you got your color filters as well. Now you got your red light here. So no problem on the MH25 Pro, but on the MH12 Pro, it does not fit in the previous 25mm filters and cones. Nitecore will probably release a special filter for this kind of size, the MH12 Pro. So that's an important thing to note if you specifically need filters in your work. So that's it, the key features that make the MH12 Pro and MH25 Pro the best all-rounder flashlights out there today for 90% of users. The new efficiency gain from the UHi LEDs, the incredible runtime, and the new indicator displays that remove all doubt, the confidence-inspiring grip, the revamped charging experience, and the new Gen 2 holsters. So should you buy an MH12 Pro or MH25 Pro? The selling point of these lights are the simple controls, the high brightness, and the very long runtime. They don't offer the higher end functions of the P series of lights like the glass breaking bezels, the strobe ready, the one-handed controls. All of them are missing from these lights, which is the point because this is designed for general professionals, not just first responders or military use. The points above make sense to you and you don't need all the fancy high-end features, then there's no better all-round light today than the new Pro series. The only thing I consider is if you should go for the 12 or the 25. Is the larger size worth the longer beam distance? If your work demands it, then just go for it. Right? You can't go wrong with either of these lights. Everything else is the same except for the bezel size. So don't put your personal safety on inferior flashlights with just very high lumens. Nitecore has been making lights for professional operators for years. Over 15 different international agencies have Nitecore as their standard issue. So they know exactly how the lights are being used, the increasing challenges that operators face on the ground, and what is expected of future gear. When you have over 9 years of R&D built into a light, it's impossible to go wrong. Before the MH12 Pro, there was MH12, MH12 GT, MH12 V2, MH12S, MH12 SE, so many variations. So when you buy into a light that has been iterated that much, you're gonna get a solid performing light that's gonna last you for years to come. Both are all in stock now at nitecorelights.com. There's a bulk discount option, so it's perfect if you're buying for your team, family or friends. Once your order is placed, we'll courier everything to your door within a couple of days. Link to orders in the description box below. As usual, this comes with a 60-day money-back guarantee and a fast-free 3-year warranty, so there's no risk at all. Alright, that's it. If you'd like to see more videos like this where we help you choose the best lights for your work or adventures, subscribe below and I'll see you on the next one. Right, MJ signing out.